When did you first know that you were gay?
I I wouldn't have said I was gay until I was divorced and came out. However,
Mm,
I did know that I was attracted to the same sex since before I can remember, since I was a child. Um, so I had an idea, and then yeah. So as far as I can remember,
wow,
as far as I can remember,
that's crazy. You remember?
and you feel free to whatever comes to mind.
You remember like being younger, I guess, and like thinking about it. I guess if that makes sense. Like,
Yes. Yep.
but it was probably pretty like not obvious. Like the idea of being attracted to men was very like that was just the normal so much, especially with like where you were, how
Yeah.
you were raised and stuff. You know.
Yes. So for me, I knew I was attracted to girls when I was younger. I was raised in the church, very strict, and I remember hearing a message about homosexuality in church. And I remember looking it up in the Bible to see if it was really in the Bible
Mm-hmm.
at some point. I don't remember exactly what scripture, but I did read that it was in the Bible. And at that time, I decided it was wrong. And so I looked at being gay like lying or cheating or
Right.
stealing. And it's like
Mm.
people do it. You may want to do it, but you shouldn't.
Mm.
It's not right to do it.
Wow.
So I tucked it away and I just thought it was sin and it was going to be just not right. So, yeah. So I decided at a very young age that it was not okay. And so I wouldn't have called myself gay because I
Right.
didn't intend or think that I would ever.
Wow. Live that lifestyle
Yep.
or whatever. Wow. So then I guess that kind of like, how did you know that you were gay? Like you remember having like crushes, I guess?
Yep.
Or wow.
Yep.
I feel that actually. That's real.
Yep. Yep. Sure did.
So kind of hinted at it, but like, in your opinion, when did you like fully and officially come out, or from your perspective, you know? Because I feel like there was kind of little, you
Yes.
know.
Yes. Um, I would say officially when I was 36, and right around the end of my divorce. I think the first time I told a friend, um, I had a friend who I worked with who was married to a man, and then she had gotten divorced and then came out, and she did all that. We worked together, and I
Mm,
wanted that. And so I was like
wow.
secretly like envious, like,
Right.
oh, she gets to live her life.
No.
But I wasn't there yet. So I watched her through that whole process. And then once I was there, I actually went to counseling for a separate issue. So I was going to see a therapist for a separate issue. And I brought up my attraction to women in the session, and my counselor was like, hold up. We're not just going to glaze over this. So I wasn't
Wait,
ready. Yeah.
this is what you paid me for.
So it wasn't right then and there, but eventually she didn't let it go. And she kind of,
Wow. Oh,
I
wow.
would really attribute being able to come out to her. And it
That's
wasn't for that reason.
crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. She
Dang.
kind of said it, it's okay. It's, and I was like, really? You
No,
think
that's a
so?
good therapy.
I was like, really? You think so? I remember the moment. And she was like, yes, yes.
Oh
And I was
my gosh.
like,
Everybody needs therapy. I'm telling you.
oh.
Everybody. So then who Well, you don't have to like mention names, I guess, but if you don't want to, but who were like some of the people that you talked to about it first, I guess, because I know you mentioned the friend from work. You told them about it, or you just saw them and it was like impacted you?
No, so I was in counseling, and then by the time I told her, I was somewhere in the process of divorce. I already knew what was I knew what I was gonna do, and oh yeah, we went to lunch one day, and I wanted to tell her. I wanted she was the first person because I knew she was safe. I felt she was safe. So we went to lunch, and I said I have to tell you something, and I couldn't tell her. I was like, I can't. So we sat across from each other. And then I said, when we get in the car, we are next to me. So we were both facing.
Yeah.
And then we got in the car, and I was like, I can't say it again. I did. And then we got out of the car. We was going back into work. And I wanted to tell her.
Right.
And I said, okay, turn around. Don't look at me. And she said, okay. And she turned backwards. And then I told her with her head. I told her, and I don't even think I said I'm gay. I just said something like I like women or something. I couldn't even use the words I'm gay.
Right.
And so I, um, yeah, we went back into work, and she was like, oh my God, like so excited. But then we went back into work, and the the thing that's important is I still had a deep, deep belief that it was just wrong.
Wow.
So I, at work, like I felt like I
And
was
you were
gonna pass
like,
out.
how old around this time?
36, I think.
Wow.
So I sat at work,
That's deep.
and I was like, I felt like it was buried in me and it was trying to come out. So I was like exhausted. I couldn't even, I felt still shame, guilt, all those things was just coming up after saying that out loud to someone. It was hard.
That is hard.
So, um, yeah, so that was that experience. The rest of the day, I don't think I got anything done.
Well, and
And
then to be going through all that personal stuff at the same time, like mentioning your divorce and things, that's a lot to be going through. We had a lot of stuff going on at home. So to have all that on the outside and then that on the inside, that's a lot.
it was a lot. And then I told another friend, just a close friend of mine, or girlfriend, I just was like, I have something to tell you. We're in the car, same way, facing in that way. And it was still hard, but it was a little easier.
Yes.
And I just remember, like, okay, like I'm gonna survive. And then I think I told another friend, like, just, and each time I told someone, it got just a little bit easier. Um, but yeah, it still took a long time to kind of just be open and free. And I'm 46 now, so that's 10 years ago. So it's been 10 years that I've been working
What?
on it. And I can say I just probably not that long ago just kind of got over things with my parents. So
Yeah, I was gonna
it's
say
been a 10-year
'cause
process.
I think I was a freshman when you told me, and that would have made me 14, 15. So yeah, that checks out right around 10 years ago. That's crazy.
Yeah.
You know what else is crazy? The same exact thing happened when I told you.
What do you mean? Tell me.
You don't remember we went to lunch one day
Yep.
and
I think it might have been Easter.
around,
I think it
yeah,
was
around this
we
time
was
of year,
meeting
I
for
think.
it was.
And we went to lunch and it was like the exact same thing. Like I just knew I wanted to tell you. I sat there that whole lunchtime just like nervous and awkward, didn't say it, didn't bring it up. We got in the car, you were driving me back to my place, nervous, awkward, didn't bring it up. We were getting close and I was like, okay, I have to tell you something. And I still couldn't even really like look at you. And it was just funny though, because you had already come out to me at that point. I was just nervous in general. I don't know. It's a big change,
Mhm.
whatever.
Mhm.
But it's just funny the similar stories. So much anxiety with it just because of
So much
the
anxiety.
norms or whatever.
I remember we got to the car before you told me we left
Yeah, we
lunch and we went
left
to the
lunch.
car. I
Yeah,
think got to the car.
we
And
went to the
then
Vig.
um yeah, we were at the Vig. And then I remember you said, thank you for like being okay or accepting me. You said like, thank you for, and I'm like, babe, what do
You
you
said, why
mean? I'm
not?
like, what? And so I was like, oh, you know, even after all of that, you still had some fear that maybe
Yeah.
I would.
That's crazy. I don't even know if I don't know what I did. Like, I think for me, it was more so just in general was like a lot, or being different in general. Like for a lot of my life growing up, I thought of us as like a very normal, stereotypical family, two parents, a daughter, a son, and like living that life in the suburbs. And then when you guys got divorced or well, you were separated, and I didn't even really process that you were separated. I think that's how much I was so rooted in like, oh, it's just my family. We just do stuff sometimes. Like I didn't even really recognize that like, oh, my parents are separated. But then when you guys got divorced, that was like the first time that I was like, oh, like we aren't, I guess, totally the normal typical, although that is kind of normal typical. Um, so yeah, it was more so just another thing that was making me a little bit different. That I was like, this isn't
Mm.
me. I'm normal typical. Like we're normal typical people. We don't got stories like this. We got a lot of stories like that. We got all the stories like that. Oh yeah. Okay, so you're fully out to like everyone or anyone you meet. Like, are there people that you feel like still don't know, or you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Um, as of this last year, I would say no. Although there are people like so, I was raised very religious, very church. My family's very into church, pastors, ministers, and so I definitely I can say I definitely have not had the conversation with a lot of people in my family,
Right.
and I assume they know.
Right. Social media,
Social
whatever.
media, maybe my
Word of
parents,
mouth. Yeah.
conversations, different things, but I have not directly had the conversation with some people, and I can say that honestly, like I normally go to a family church when I go home, and I went home with my girlfriend, and we did not go to church specifically
He said, not this
because
time. We not dealing with all
we're
that
not
this
there
time.
yet, you know. So if that's the extent of not being fully out, um, we weren't ready to do that. So
No, that's fair. I think you don't necessarily owe everyone a conversation, especially because it's not even gonna be a conversation. They just gonna start. They're not hearing.
yeah,
But I'm happy for you, and I think you bringing her home at all is a real big step and something to work on with. Like we're just working up to that and
yeah,
stuff.
yes.
So, um, so grandma and granddad, you did have the conversation with them. I think
I
in
did.
more recent years, if not year or so, right? Like,
Hmm.
and how was that?
Um, so when I first came out to my mom, I came out to her first, and this I think I'm okay now. I think I'm over it, but it kind of
Uh
was a
huh.
little hard. But I told her in the car, same way. That's funny. I didn't realize that she's sitting next to me in the car. I'm like, I have something to tell you. And I think I said I have a girlfriend or something like that. And she was like, a what? And she said, oh Lord, give me a drink. Give me a drink. She said, I'm not ashamed. I'm not ashamed. I'm not ashamed. She said, I'm not ashamed. And I said, oh.
Right.
And that was
Who you
kind
talking
of,
to?
that was
Right.
kind of the extent of, we moved
The
past it.
interaction. Wow.
Yeah. We moved past it after that. Um, and then, so that was hard at first. I mean, it may
Mm-hmm.
still be, but that was hard at first. And then I really didn't have the conversation with either of my parents, or I haven't had a conversation. But um, I did. I will talk a little bit about my brother. So
Mm-hmm.
things did get a little rough. So my brother passed away this January, um, and so he was sick for about a year before he passed away, like really sick. And so he expressed to me throughout that year. I feel like during his sickness, he was had a lot of anger, but he was kind of. I think he knew he was dying, and I think when people are about to pass and they know it, like the emotions come up. So
Right.
we had a lot of conversations where he expressed thought it was wrong, and he didn't agree, and um, we had like arguments. We had
Wow.
arguments about
I
it.
didn't know that.
Yeah, we had arguments about it within the last year, and um, I didn't realize how sick he was and how much it was tied to because he had a lot of anger about a lot of things. I noticed after that,
Mm-hmm.
but because I'm in Arizona, he was in Maryland. Just conversation, I thought he was really serious about that. So, um, and he let me know that my parents had a problem with it too. However, they never said that to
Right.
me, but he let me know. And so, for a while, it was pretty rough last year, where we was kind of disconnected for a while, and then so I think so after those several conversations we had over the phone, he got sick, and so I and he was like okay, but still, I knew he had some feelings about it. But anyway, so I went home a week before, maybe 2 weeks before, a week before he passed. He was in the hospital, and I found out later he had almost passed the day before I got there. But when I was there, he put everybody out of the hospital room, and he grabbed my hand, and he said, "I'm so sorry." He said, "Please forgive me. I'm so sorry," because he had time to spend with my girlfriend, and he said, "I love her for you." He said, "You seem happier than I've ever seen you, and I love her. She's my sister, and please, please, please forgive me." He said, "Please forgive me." He held my hand and he said, "April, I'm so sorry." And that was a week before he passed. So, and he told me, he said, "And I talked to mom and dad, and I told them to cut it out too." He said, "So that's not going to be a problem anymore." He told me. He said, "That's." He said,
You did Big Brother one more time.
he said, "I told them everybody does whatever they want to do. So why are we judging her?" He goes, "Y'all did what y'all wanted to do when y'all needed to. I do, why are we judging her? That needs to stop." And he told me that's what he said. I haven't had like a conversation with my parents
Right.
directly about it after that, but it's been better. So
Well,
that's where we are with that. But I'm really grateful that I had the opportunity that to have that conversation with him before he passed. So he ended up passing a week later, and so that gave me some peace.
and she is great.
She is
Everybody
great.
she meets.
Yeah,
Just
she
leaving a
is
trail
great.
of smiles behind her.
Yeah, she does. She does. Yep.
You think you'll bring it up with grandma and granddad?
No. No. Mm-mm.
No, I'm good.
You know, I'm just of the mindset that I don't really need to try to persuade anyone.
Right.
Um,
Right.
I'm just gonna be me and show up as I am, and you either accept me or you don't. But I'm not trying to push myself on anyone. It
Right.
just like
Right. Just
if you want
just
me,
existing.
you get me, or you
Right.
just
Or not walk away. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So no, I don't know. At this age and time, I don't need to have a conversation. I do think being around her and I together has changed something in them a little bit. Because I think people tend to just think about like gayness as like
Right.
sex or
Right.
like this, but not the actual person.
Right. Not the
And
love
now they've
that
kind
is
of
still
gotten to
there.
see her and the person she is, so they have a like, better. So I'm okay with that.
I love that. Hey, me too. Cause I'm not talking to them about it.
Not yet. No
No.
time soon. Yeah.
Were there any other like reactions from friends or other family or anything that's really like stuck with you?
Um, just my other brother, he was just all for it. He was like, whatever makes you happy. Um, and I was a little nervous to tell him, and he was like, by the time I said it, he was like, oh, like that's it. I don't know. He thought it was
Something
gonna be something,
crazier.
yeah. And he was like, oh, like I'm like, oh, okay,
I didn't know that. That's so
yeah.
funny. That's so hip.
So I did get that sometimes. Like that's not a big deal. Oh, you. Let's see you. I remember your reaction was when I told you you cried.
I did.
You cried quite a bit. And then the sweet part was you said, "But Mama, I'm not sad about what you said. You said, I just does Daddy know?" You said, "Does Dad know?" And you said it. You just said, "Does Dad know?"
Because mind you,
This is what you said.
you
So
had been living in a different apartment, and somehow I didn't know my parents were separated.
that's kind of
I
my.
was like,
I
oh, she
just
just up the street. I don't know.
yeah. Yeah, I didn't really. I don't know if that's good or bad, but I really didn't want it to be a big deal for you
Right.
guys.
And we did. And we didn't make it one. We said, okay, yeah, that sounds like something that would happen.
Yeah, I don't know if I allowed to process everything 100%,
And you know what?
but I don't
That's what
know.
I talked to my therapist about. So,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, that's so funny. But no, that's fair. I do remember. It was a little, it was just shocking. Like, I was like, oh. And then I think after you told me, it was like all the fog cleared. And I was like, oh. And I like really stepped back and look at our family like, oh. But I do appreciate what y'all did. Like, I'm sure we were good for a long time. We had a real good foundation. That by the time it did happen, it was like, well, okay, that's still my mama. That's still my daddy. So we gonna be alright.
Yeah.
Yeah. And look at us
So.
now. Everybody gay. It's just us actually. But these, I'm gonna put these together. But it's one is like, would you consider being gay like hard for you? And if you could change, do you think you would? And I feel like not just if you could change like from here on out, but if you were never gay, so like you never just like never experienced that or something, do you think you would? You could go back to when you were born, I guess.
Mm. Was that one of the questions? Where did that come from? I'm just gonna say no,
Right.
because I'm happy with myself. Definitely a happier version of myself. Um, do I wish the world were better?
Right.
Yeah, yes. Like I wish,
In a lot of
I just
ways.
wish the world were better. And I don't have all the answers. Like I said, I don't I don't understand a lot of things. But no, I would not have it another way because I believe I was created this way. And so I accept myself and I love myself how I am. So I wouldn't, I'm God's creation and would not change that. So,
Me either. We like it on this side. Need our numbers up. But it was hard. I know it was, at points throughout your life.
um, yes, yes, it was hard. Um, it was hard because I was not being my authentic self. I wasn't being honest with myself or my family, and that's unfortunate. But I will say, I think I kind of mentioned it earlier. I never be out living the lifestyle, like living. I knew how I felt, who I was, who I am, but I just thought I would suppress it, ignore it, and live what everybody wanted me to live how the world.
Wow.
I really did um, think I would do that, and so just as I grew older, um, I just had to become more myself and just be who I am.
At such a young age to already be thinking like, well, I just got to put that away and be what the world wants me to be.
Yeah, yeah. And so for me, it's a little when you raised very strict religious, you tend to that's kind of there's a lot of
Yeah.
rules based anyway, and so you just do what you should do what you're supposed to do, and that's what I did. I tried to do.
But look at you now, thriving. Speaking of religion and just how you grew up and everything, like, we'll really start talking about like
Probably gotta
beliefs.
speak louder.
We'll really start talking about like beliefs and um, just how that's changed for you and everything with how you grew up. So first is just, do you believe that you were born gay, or you think, I don't know, exposed to things as a child or something like that?
I believe I was born gay. Do I think it's possible that if a child is exposed to certain things, they might have it may sway their preference? Possibly. I think there's a large range of scenarios and feelings and things going on in different people, and there's no one size fit all. Um, but I do believe I was born gay genetically.
Yeah.
I do.
No, I completely agree, honestly. Like, I know just the other day when we were on the phone and I was like, you didn't know, like, about me. Like, I was saying, you never do. But, like, when I look back at pictures of me and stuff in, like, high school or just growing up and just all that kind of stuff, and even when I think back to my friendships, like, growing up, I'm like, somebody could have told me.
Yeah,
Somebody should have known.
I
Maybe
didn't
not
know.
me, but somebody else. Somebody looking on the outside.
I think for me, I also didn't want to see it for myself, so I wouldn't have seen it in you.
That's
Like I just
fair,
had the
right?
blinders on.
Uh-huh.
I was even
That
not
makes a
seeing,
lot of sense, right? Just
So
not even thinking about
it
that.
was
Yeah, that does
so
make sense.
yeah.
Wow. It's so deeply rooted,
It was
it
very
really
deeply
gets in
rooted.
there.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
So with that, do you still today identify as Christian and like a follower of the Bible?
I do. Um. Yes, I do.
Period.
I do.
How do you feel like you've kind of, I guess, how do you feel like your beliefs have like changed over the years or like adapted now that you've like accepted this part of yourself? But as you mentioned earlier, like there's certain scriptures and
Hmm.
everything in the Bible that do touch on homosexuality. So how do you feel like that's kind of morphed?
Um. For one thing, once I came out, um, my as my authentic self, just not pretending anything, I just felt healthier mentally, emotionally, physically. I felt healthier. And so I could understand how like my family may not be able to make the shift to come out of brain stuff because they don't have that actual experience.
Right.
I know what it feels like for me
Uh-huh.
on the inside. So, and I felt lighter, I felt healthier. It just all made sense to me that I can't deny it. Like it wouldn't make sense to do anything other to make myself sick. Like it just,
Yeah.
so, but I think, what did you say as far as my beliefs? Oh, in
Just
the
like how
Bible?
they've kind of changed over the years. Being such a devout Christian, I think like growing up
Yeah.
and then now.
So once I was out and divorced and living my true self and I felt better, I felt like the rug was pulled from under me. My whole foundation was gone because it didn't make sense. So I didn't know what to believe.
Right.
And I felt like I was lied to. I felt like I was duped. I
For a
felt like,
long
well, if
time.
that's not true, I felt like, well, what else is not true? I was
Right.
angry. because I'm like, I was trying to do the right thing. I was trying to, like, I hurt myself, and I feel like I hurt my family an extent because I didn't give you guys the full version of me. Like, I wasn't being truly who I am. And so, for a long time, I just didn't know what to believe. And I guess fast forward 10 years that I was processing. Right now, I believe in goodness. Um, I believe that God is goodness. I believe God is love. And that's what I strive for. So I know there's a lot of rules. And I think when it comes to the Bible, all I can
Right.
say is I believe the Bible is intended to be metaphorical and not literal. I believe you have to understand the context around the times when certain things were said and not just take blanket statements and just slap it.
Right.
So there's context to everything, and there's a time and a place for everything. I'm not like really studied in the Bible, but that's my belief is that the stories are meant to be metaphors to how to live a good
Yeah.
life, what to do, not fear-based rules. Do this or you're gonna
Right.
go to hell.
Yes.
Personally,
Things that
so
like they transcend time, like from when that was originally written. Like basically, like you said, the context of it, like in what was going on when that was, originally put out there from the time that we as humans or whatever discovered it or found it or whatever. And then even then the however many hundreds of thousands of years it's been since then, it's not the same world as when that was happening. So I think that makes a lot of sense. I like that. Metaphorical. More of a guide.
yeah. And then with Christianity, I will just say I think that sometimes we get caught up in the words and not the meaning. So I believe that a lot of different religions and denominations, you still have to understand the meaning and the principles and not look at it as just rules. That's just what I think. And I think a lot of the principles tend to be the same if you really get to the base of them. Like, do good unto others, love your neighbor, you know. And so if it's good, like
Go
that's what
with
I
it.
strive to. Like I
Nice.
just and
Yes.
there's a lot of the Bible really teaches you. There's a lot of stories that will teach you and be a guide for you to live a good, prosperous life. So um, that's where I am today, and I will just say, I think when I really struggled with what to believe and think, the the one thing that really helped me to feel okay about myself is we had a intersex person at my church here in Arizona. I don't remember why, but and she told his story. I think he was male. His story about being intersex, and the parent chose the wrong gender at birth. And so in the past, that would happen a lot is if children were born
They
intersex, the
just
parent
picked
would
one.
pick one, not knowing what
I've
the
seen
child felt.
stories like that.
So when I said that, that was the defining, like, okay, if a person can be born with both
Right. Like
sexes, most
anatomy,
genders,
yeah.
anatomy on the outside externally, I feel like there's a range of what could be happening
Yeah.
on the inside.
Yes.
And so I don't know. Like, you can't deny an intersex
Right.
person
Yeah. They
and say
there.
they're one or not. So I feel like I don't, that helped me to not feel like I had to categorize.
One or the other type
Yeah.
of thing.
I'm like, I believe it could happen just like emotionally on the inside, mentally and emotionally. So then I said, um, I've had people say, well, I think my brother once, like, it just doesn't make sense. It's not genetically, like anatomically, it's
Right.
not, it doesn't make sense. But a lot of things don't.
Right.
There's a lot of,
There's 8 billion of us up on this big old rock.
yeah. So
A
I
lot
would
of
just say,
stories.
even though I don't know that um, homosexuality, heterosexuality, I don't know that homosexuality was God's original intent or design. I don't know. Maybe it's a variation, but
Here we are.
Here, here we are.
Can't deny us. We out here.
I
They
don't know.
try.
Yeah.
But ain't nothing choice about this. Trust, I am not choosing to be oppressed in this society. I'll tell you that much right now.
Exactly.
Uh,
So yeah.
so then, what is your like understanding of what the Bible has to say about same gender relationships? And I'm like super curious about this because I'm not well versed in the Bible at all, to be honest. So,
You know the scripture, and I don't know the scripture. When I was young, and I don't know. Yeah, I don't know the scripture. But what I remember reading was, I think it had to do with that liars. It's something like liars, murderers, homosexuals. Da 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 da. It was like a list of will not enter the kingdom of God, and it was listed on the same line with other sin. And so I just clumped it with sin. Like you don't murder, you
no.
don't lie, and you don't be gay.
Wow, and don't be
And
gay.
so that was the
Wow.
that's what I know um, is in the Bible. And then yeah, that's kind of the only scripture I could give you. I know it talks about something about that. I'm not quoting anything, but something
Right.
about not entering the kingdom of God. So
I don't know any scriptures, but there's like the famous one or the common one that's like, "Man shall not lie with man" or
yeah,
something like that.
yeah.
And but then I seen something, and this is from the internet. I didn't fact check it. I don't know if it's true, but the Bible's been translated so many times since it was found. And people say, like, if you go back to the original version and you do like, if we were to make a more accurate translation with all the knowledge that we have today, it translates to like, "Man shall not lie with boy" or something like that, which just kind of has different connotation to what that might imply and stuff. So I don't know. I think just for me, again, I don't know if that's even true. If we were to retranslate it, maybe it is man with man, whatever. But I think that part of it is a really interesting part of like what you said when you were questioning if this isn't true, like what else isn't true? Because at the end of the day, it's hard to know. It's hard to know somewhere along the lines amongst all those translations, did someone translate it to something they wanted to say, and that's like what they're putting out there. Um, it's just hard. But I guess that's religion, faith. That's the whole point. Is just like you're not gonna know until it's too late, actually. So, and then by that point, you just gotta hope you guessed right. I guess. Like I just.
No, and I love that because that's the whole reason for doing this, and that's why I tread lightly. I'm not trying to persuade anyone
Right.
to yay or nay because I don't know what's on the like I don't
Right.
want to be the one leading
Yeah.
people, but I know we are here, and I know that there was a time when I felt estranged from my parents because of this topic, and I know, and you probably know, there's a lot of people who parents they're disconnected from their parents, and I
Yeah.
just think that that part is tragic. I really do. I'm not saying go be gay or don't be gay. I'm just saying that I wanted to open the topic up because it's a real issue, and it's really sad. It's really sad that parents um, are willing to reject their
Right.
children,
Lose that relationship.
and that just kind of breaks my heart, and I wish it didn't have to be that way. So I really wanted to open a conversation to give a little bit of insight that even as a gay person, it's not like we are necessarily just saying we don't care about the Bible or
Right.
Christianity, or that we don't want to be enter the kingdom of heaven. Like, for
Yeah.
sure we do, but it's like, what do you do? We struggle sometimes, just
Yeah.
as much as I did for years because of my beliefs. So I can imagine the people who don't get it, because I feel like it was so deeply rooted in me that if I didn't experience it, I don't know that
Would
I
you
would
get
have
it? Right.
get it. I don't
Right.
know that I would have been able to. I don't know.
Right.
So I even when I was going through that with my brother, I couldn't. be too upset because I understood he wasn't
That
experiencing
he
it.
wasn't put in that position to understand. No, that's real, really. Because, like, when they get you as a kid, when we're born, we're blank slates. Ain't nothing going on up there. We have no idea the world that we're being brought into or how it works. We just know crying and smiling, I guess. That's it. That's all we're born with. And so, if that's some of the first things they're putting on that blank slate and like creating a foundation based on that, that's going to be there forever, or at least until you put in the work and the effort to like undo that. And a lot of people don't even know that they need to put in the work and effort, let alone are they actually trying to do it, put in that work and that effort. So that
Hmm.
is tough.
Hmm. Yeah. So, um, yeah, I guess, did you have any other questions or anything you want to know that you didn't hear about today?
I feel like I heard about so many things today. And like some of them I knew, but just getting the chance to just hear you like express about them and what it was like for you. I didn't know about my uncle and like the conversations you had before. I knew about the most recent one, you know. And I think I'm happy you got to have that with him because I know how close y'all were. Just like that was really your guy. And I feel him all the time. I really do. Like just looking down, I feel him laughing sometimes. Like when something happens, I'm like, oh, I know he would think that's funny and stuff like that. But I am really happy for you, and
Hmm.
I appreciate you honestly, because
Hmm.
I don't know, like seeing you and your experience definitely made it easier for me. And honestly, like if you weren't gay, I don't know, like, and I still was or whatever. I don't know if I would have even told you by now to like think about it, because there was a long time where I was like, I knew too, but I was like, I'm not gonna bring it up until it's relevant, because I thought I was like attracted to both, and I was like, well, if I don't date a girl, then it's not relevant. And then one day I was like, oh no, it's relevant. But just seeing you and the experience, your story, just made that so much easier. I think it can make it easier for a lot more people.
Hmm.
We gotta get some pictures next time. Show them you was really up in there in them camps and stuff.
What? Look at.
Them church camps, them 6 month long, um, what is it called?
Oh,
Retreats.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
I don't know if it was a
Yeah.
retreat. I
Yeah.
think right now no more questions, but it's definitely something that I think about it all the time, really. And maybe we'll do a part 2 to your
I
episode.
think we're going to do a part two and focus a little more on you
Hmm.
if you're comfortable with that.
If y'all got questions,
Yes.
leave
If
them in
you
the
got,
comments.
leave us, yes, for sure. If you got questions for Alexis or even follow up questions for me, we'll
Yes.
definitely do a part two. Because I have questions. I still don't know. Um, you know, and so
I
we're
don't
gonna
even know if
be.
I know.
That's all right. That's okay.
But I like to figure them out.
Yeah, yeah. So we're gonna do that pretty soon. So
Yes.
expect to be getting together again to wrap this up. Um, but no, I'm grateful to pave the way for you and just to have experience and for you to have the courage. And again, it's not easy for us either. Is kind of the point I wanted to make. Is sometimes it's hard if you are gay and you're born Christian. It's not like you just don't want to um, be a good person
Mm-hmm.
or but it's hard when you are just being yourself and you just want to be yourself and you're fighting against the rules and everybody's expectations versus what you really feel in your heart. And the whole thing is just to say it's not easy. It's not a easy choice. It's not an easy road. It's not an easy life. um, yeah, definitely there's more we could get into that I just thought of, but we're going to save it for next time.
Mm-hmm.
um,
I think you're on the path of inspiring a lot of people right now. I'm just lucky to have grown up with it and to see you and how it's changed and how it's like shaped your life and just feel the happiness from you even more. And I think that's kind of the point with you starting this channel. and
Yes.
just get more and more people to see that like it is okay and you can still live a happy life being you, even if it's not what you thought you were supposed to be, the life you needed to live to be happy. So hopefully on this journey will inspire a lot more people.
For sure. And also, I was in another group, and um, I heard a woman say it's important for good people, good gay people, to come forward
Yeah.
because we need more just good people who just living. We're not trying to
Right.
do,
Change the
be,
world, something
yeah, we're not
crazy.
trying to change the world, but it's also just not about sex, because a lot
Right.
of people see, oh, gay, and first they think, oh, you're having sex with the same sex, but it's not. It's just a relationship like anyone else. And we just living, we're just trying to live,
I'm
that's
just
it.
out
And
here ain't
so
doing nothing.
hopefully I'll inspire parents to just open their hearts and minds, and um, just consider that your child's perspective, if there is any parents who are estranged from their children. um, just listen. Hopefully you'll chime in. Beautiful thing is we got social media. You can listen from comfort of your own
Yes.
home,
Yes.
and just stay tuned in, and just know that we're just people trying to live, and probably your child is too. So
All of us, literally all
yeah,
of
oh
us.
y'all, life is hard enough. So that's all I have for today.
Make sure to check out my mama's new channel.
The Gay Dilemma. It's going to be called
Yes.
the Gay Dilemma. So stay tuned. I'll have a link or forward to make sure you can get there. I couldn't do the live on there today, so we're on my.
Goal is 50 subscribers on the new channel so we can get live going.
So go to the Gay Dilemma and subscribe so you can get more content.
Thanks for joining
Thank
us.
you. Later.
And have a good Easter if you celebrate.